The teacher simply reminded the students to be careful when sharpening their pencils. The next second, the students suddenly went berserk. Fortunately, another student pulled her away. Otherwise, the teacher might have been killed. The next day, the principal explained that the student was under too much stress, leading to a mental breakdown. No one believed the principal's explanation. The protagonist, Rose, also felt that there was something suspicious about the incident, so she secretly investigated the matter. She found something hidden in a classmate's desk. The next second, a sharp pain shot through her hand. Her palm was cut by a large gash. It turned out to be broken glass. Just as Rose wondered why someone would hide broken glass, the teacher, Dean, noticed her predicament. He thoughtfully covered her wound. Dean asked her if she had seen anything strange. Rose wanted to go to the infirmary to treat her wound, but Dean told her that the wound had already healed. Rose, confused, uncovered her hand. Unexpectedly, the wound had indeed healed, as if by magic. She suddenly realized that this teacher was no ordinary person. Sure enough, during class the next day, she suddenly discovered that Dean could control flying insects. When he was discovered, he deliberately pretended to be innocent and harmless. The more he pretended to be naive and innocent, the more suspicious Rose became of him. And that very night, something strange happened again. The bizarre scene terrified the woman. Suddenly, she uncontrollably began to contort her body. She went to a high platform, performed a strange dance, and then jumped off. The next morning, when Rose learned that the woman had committed suicide, she couldn't help but feel scared, because the girl was the second-ranked student in her grade, and the first-ranked student had suddenly gone mad. The next person to be in trouble would definitely be herself, the third-ranked student. After school, Rose discussed the matter with her best friend, asking her to help investigate the new teacher, Dean. She suspected that Dean was secretly causing trouble, but her best friend refused, citing the need to study. So Rose secretly sneaked into the office to investigate. Just then, Dean returned from outside, scaring Rose, who quickly hid behind a desk. Suddenly, she saw that Dean was covered in tattoos. It was obvious that he wasn't a real teacher, because there are regulations in Thailand that teachers are not allowed to have tattoos. Suddenly, a strange voice echoed in the air. When Rose came to her senses, Dean had disappeared into thin air, so she prepared to leave, and happened to run into a patrolling security guard. Due to the recent frequent bizarre incidents, he offered to escort Rose out, but as they walked, he suddenly stopped, and then began to cough violently.
แล้วเธอเป็นเด็กไม่ดีหรือเปล่า
The security guard went mad. He beat himself until his head was covered in blood. Rose frantically ran away, but she was still caught by the security guard. Suddenly, a chain shackled the security guard's foot. A man in red appeared. After knocking the security guard down, he pressed his thumb on his head. Then he chanted a series of spells. The security guard fell down, and just as the mysterious man reached out to Rose. Was this all a dream? Rose quickly checked her injuries, but found everything perfectly fine. The next day, Rose went to school. She saw the security guard from last night. It seemed as if nothing had happened. So Rose found Dean, and told him to stop harming people. Dean tried to argue, but faced with the evidence on the phone, he realized he had been monitored by Rose. It turned out that ever since the top 2 students in the grade had problems, Rose had installed many cameras. Rose excitedly asked him why he did this. Was she the next target? Unexpectedly, Dean exhaled a breath, and knocked Rose unconscious. When she woke up, she was tied up in a dimly lit room. Rose quickly asked what was going on. However, Dean pressed his thumb on her head. Rose instantly felt as if she was underwater. The feeling of suffocation made her struggle. When Dean released his hand, she returned to reality. After repeating this several times, the truth finally came out. Rose couldn't help but spit out a puddle of water, which instantly turned black after being absorbed by the paper. At this moment, Rose finally understood. Dean had been saving her all along. It turned out that someone was using black magic to harm people in the school. The first and second place students were cursed. Dean was a sorcerer specializing in dealing with black magic. He sensed that someone was using black magic in the school. That's why he pretended to be a teacher to investigate. Rose had already been affected. For her safety, Dean told her not to investigate this matter anymore. So who was using black magic to harm people? The phone is only the size of a thumb. The eyes become smart devices. A man takes a liking to a dark-haired woman. The smart eye then transmits the information to a dating expert. The dating expert immediately provides the man with the best approach strategy. First, deliberately approach the blonde woman. Then the neglected dark-haired woman wants to join in, but unexpectedly, the dark-haired woman prefers to be alone. The dating expert immediately changes strategy. The man pretends to go to the restroom. He shakes off the blonde woman. He finds the dark-haired woman in a corner. He complains about the boring party. The two quickly find common ground. During their conversation, they accidentally spill their drinks. While the dark-haired woman is in the restroom, the man expresses his excitement to the expert. This scene is witnessed by the dark-haired woman, but she doesn't expose him. Instead, she invites him home with her. She suddenly becomes unusually proactive. The expert turns away with a mischievous grin. A dozen netizens are watching this live stream. The woman with dark hair poured a drink into the man's mouth. The man choked and coughed, The expert noticed something was wrong. The woman with dark hair began to mutter incoherently to herself. It seemed like a group of people were directing her from inside her head. It turned out the woman with dark hair suffered from schizophrenia. She had planned to commit suicide that day. The expert sensed something was wrong. He told the man to run away immediately, but the man coughed up blood. He struggled to explain, but the woman with dark hair took out a funnel. She poured the entire contents of another glass into the man's mouth. The dating expert and the online acquaintance were all terrified. They had witnessed a murder. The expert immediately notified everyone to shut down the internet, to erase all evidence. He was about to secretly process the data on his hard drive, but he accidentally stepped on a toy on the floor. His sordid deeds were discovered by his wife. The two had a fierce argument. She blocked and deleted her husband. To her husband became a pixelated mess. She couldn't hear his voice. She couldn't see his face. In a future world, blocking and deleting will result in a pixelated mess. No sound, no images. This woman is having surgery today. Anesthesia is quickly administered. The woman should lose consciousness, but to her horror, she discovers she can see herself on the operating table. A small ball is extracted and placed into an eggshell. When she wakes up again, a strange man appears before her. He speaks to her through a microphone. The man's name is Uncle Gua, an executive at an artificial intelligence company. The woman immediately asks if she died during the surgery. Uncle Gua explains that nothing went wrong. The woman's consciousness has been successfully extracted. A copy of her consciousness is created, which is now her in the eggshell. The woman is incredulous. Uncle Gua has created a new, illusory body for her. In reality, she was sleeping. Under Uncle Gua's instructions, he pressed the keys on the keyboard in front of him. The bread machine in reality immediately baked bread, taking care of her real-world self like a nanny. This was precisely the job of the consciousness copy. In the future world, one could pay to extract their own consciousness copy, to manage everything in daily life. Upon learning the truth, the woman couldn't accept it. Uncle Gua calmly closed the eggshell, adjusting the time to 6 months later. The woman completely succumbed, begging Uncle Gua to arrange things for her to do. To the accompaniment of soothing music, the woman in reality was slowly awakened, stretching and leisurely walking into the kitchen. The coffee was already brewed, and the bread was baked to her favorite shape. The day's schedule was projected onto the screen. The consciousness copy had arranged everything for the woman. Nick and Beth were a loving couple, but Beth's father disliked Nick, so they had to move out. One day, Nick was cleaning and accidentally knocked over the trash can, finding a pregnancy test. Beth then admitted she was pregnant. Just as Nick was excited, Beth said she didn't want the child. No matter how much Nick begged, Beth insisted on her decision. In a fit of anger, Nick said hurtful things. Beth blocked Nick on her phone. Unable to contact Beth, Nick went to her workplace to try his luck, and happened to run into an Asian friend. He immediately inquired about Beth, only to learn that Beth had resigned and left. Several months later, Nick encountered Beth. From her blurry silhouette, he realized the child hadn't been aborted. Nick immediately ran over and begged for forgiveness, but Beth not only didn't forgive him, she also notified. He was arrested by the police. After being taken to the police station, the shield was protected by law. If Nick got within 10 meters of Beth, the GPS would automatically trigger an alarm. On Christmas Day, he waited for Beth. Nick saw an old man holding a baby, but the legal shield automatically applied to future generations. Thus, Christmas became Nick's most anticipated time of year. The child grew up day by day. Nick could finally see that it was a girl. One day, he was sitting at home watching TV. A news report revealed a train derailment, and on the screen, a picture of his girlfriend Beth appeared. Because of her death, the shield automatically dissipated. Nick was heartbroken, but he could finally see his daughter's face clearly. On Christmas Day, Nick bought a snow globe as a gift. He patted the girl on the shoulder. The girl turned around, but she had an Asian face.